Hi everyone, I'm Manjushree and I'm doing a book review on Seasons of Flight. Seasons of Flight is a novel written by Manjushree Thapa, who is a novelist of Nepali origin. Nepal-born Manjushree Thapa, herself a peripatetic hybrid of East and West with an American education and Canadian ties, is one of a handful of Nepali authors successfully writing in English. Seasons of Flight is a haunting tale of misplaced identities and at the same time an expression of solitude. Flight is essentially an immigration story enhanced with resonating layers of political and socio-economic history. Why were Americans so light of spirit? Prema, a young woman from Nepal, asks herself again and again. Having survived her war-torn, unstable homeland where loved ones die and disappear, Prema's adjustment to her new life in Los Angeles is a wholly different kind of challenge. Trained in forestry in things that might change with seasons but are ultimately rooted, Prema's life in a native hill village was not enough to keep her grounded. Her mother died in childbirth when Prema was 8. That younger sister who survived went missing years ago to join the rebels. Her father is a little more than a kind voice on a public telephone. Her lover is as non-committal as Prema herself. When she is granted a US green card via lottery, she readily flees towards a chance for a life in a richer land which was more proper and solid. But in the multi-ethnic metropolis that is Los Angeles, Prema finds herself repeatedly trying to explain that she's not Indian and she does not speak Spanish. And Nepal is not the same as Nippon, and surely it has no relation to Naples or pasta. Untethered, Prema eschews relationships with her fellow Nepali immigrants and cuts off contacts with her waiting father and unattached lover. She moves in with total strangers, cares for a wealthy elderly widow most days, and finds herself alone most nights until she meets Louis, who becomes a tenuous connection to a firmer, more grounded American life, at least for a while. But reinvention, even thousands of miles away, requires more than physical distance. In a poignant twist, Thapa subtly compares the two sisters' lives 8 years in countries apart. As paired as those passages are, they markedly diverging circumstances and experiences speak volumes, giving this not so simple immigration story keen insight in the cost of leaving and the price for going back. As a writer of Nepali origin, Thapa gives minute details of the local political, societal, and life of people in Nepal. At the very beginning, through the dialogue of Prema with an American in Los Angeles, she clarifies the geographical location of Nepal as a country surrounded by Himalayas, and it is placed near Mount Everest. When Prema was a child, there was no electricity and telephone in Nepal. Her family home, which she still thought of as her own, though she has not been living in it since she was 17, was sturdy, two-storied of stone. It had felt sheltering and kept safe. Only later, when she had left the village to go to high school, then college in the capital Kathmandu, she discovered that her family had been poor. In the era of IT, access to internet is badly required. The misuse of internet for watching porn websites by youngsters is mentioned in the novel. There is a mention of frequent tremors in Nepal in the Himalayan region. It concerns about global warming and environment. The novel depicts the rebels and the political upheavals occurred in Nepal thereafter. Prema's younger sister Bijaya joins it. The novelist provides realistic picture of political condition in Nepal through the characters. As the protagonist moves to America, Thapa provides an insight of America in the novel. Prema is fascinated by the broad roads and lights and traffic system in America. She notices that the exploitation of human beings, workers, and poor is same everywhere as in Nepal, in America also. In America, Prema finds a cosmopolitan society and family system is very much different from her homeland Nepal. The married life and social life in America is described through Esther's life. Thapa narrates freestyle living in America. In Nepal, she has relationship with Rajan, but she has to keep secrecy of that relationship. But here in America, the situation is very different. Themes. Away from home, Nepal, in the foreign land, Los Angeles, Prema is disembodied from her root and she lacks the protective cocoon of home. Identity is newly problematized by changing conditions of Nepalese way of life in Los Angeles. Identities are increasingly liminal and she feels insecure in the foreign land, hence the theme feeling of alienation. A very simple question, where are you from? And the chain of conversation that follows compels her to think about her national identity. Nepal as a country is rarely known outside Asia. Prema had always wanted to reinvent herself in America. This reinvention is hinted for Nepal too by the author on levels of social, political, economical, and gender equality. Prema, an immigrant in Los Angeles, desperately tries to recapture, excavate, and bring to light the traces of indigenous homelands, which is constructed and reconstructed in the face of globalization and the cosmopolitanism through culture, language, culinary nostalgia, community, and love. The alternative identity sought out by Prema could be real and yet not real enough to feel authentic. It only gives her a fragile sense of belonging. Prema seeks nostalgically to recapture her happy days of childhood passed in her imagination. She recollects memories of food and festive meals, those culinary delights that brought her such warm feeling of pleasure, security, and even love as a child. For Prema, an Ammonite is a constant support and memory of her childhood spent with her parents in Nepal. In the novel, the issues of adjustment of immigrants in an alien land are highlighted. Prema makes an effort to assimilate in American lifestyle. She starts buying clothes that suit on beach at LA. She mimics American style of dressing. Adjustment is more difficult for a poor girl like Prema in the house of a rich person like Esther. Before leaving for America, Prema starts learning English language, makes efforts for driving car, read about United States from the books. She also visits cyber cafes and reads Los Angeles Times online so that she may be adjusted in America. This book was very interesting and a light book to read. It was written in simple English and I would recommend this book to anyone who would like to know more about an immigrant's life and struggles when they migrate to America. However, the biggest flaw of this book is that the author didn't write much about Nepal, its history, its cultures, and its customs. After reading this book, I am still clueless about Nepal. But now I'm sure that I know the life struggles of an immigrant who migrates to America. I would love to read this book again and I would recommend this book to all the others.